हेलो गुड मॉर्निंग ऑल वेलकम टू टेक्स्ट बुक सुपर कोचिंग फॉर रेगुलेटरी बॉडीज। कैसे आप सब लोग? और आज के सेशन में आप सबका स्वागत है। सो वी आर गोइंग टू टॉक अबाउट द करंट अफेयर्स इन दिस सेशन, इन दिस पर्टिकुलर लेक्चर। सो स्पेशली इकोनॉमिक्स, बैंकिंग एंड फाइनेंस ओरिएंटेड करंट अफेयर्स के ऊपर हमारी बात होगी, हमारा डिस्कशन होगा आज के सेशन में। सो आई विल स्टार्ट विद द सेशन, आई विल स्टार्ट विद टुडेज लेक्चर एंड वंस अगेन वेरी वेरी गुड मॉर्निंग टू ईच वन ऑफ यू. The first thing first, those who aid to subscribe our channel, please do subscribe this channel, and then we'll start with our session. Initially we'll talk about few MCQs, revision based MCQs. So we'll cover few MCQs and then afterwards we'll jump into today's current affairs related to the RBI grade B, NABARD and the SEBI exams. Before that, if you have any questions, any queries and any kind of doubt, please put your doubts and queries into comment section so that we can discuss about them. I will start, and the first question is on your screen. In which year was the public tech platform for the frictionless credit pilot program started? So, public tech platform for frictionless credit pilot program started. In which year it was initiated? In which year it was started by the Reserve Bank of India? That's the question for you. Yes, guys. So if any one of you knows the answer, please put your answer into comment section. So 2023, 2022, 2021, 2020 or 2019, when it was started? Yes, this particular program, this particular thing was started by the Reserve Bank of India in 2023. So in 2023, basically this pilot program was started by the Reserve Bank Innovation Hub. This Reserve Bank Innovation Hub is obviously subsidiary of Reserve Bank of India. They initiated this program. Recently, it was discussed. Recently, it was in news when it comes to the RBI at 90 Global Conference, and that time it was discussed by the RBI governor. So frictionless. We talk about the frictionless credit system. So right now there will be a new system which will be introduced in India, that is about the unified lending interface. So unified lending interface is actually the pilot project was this only. So that's why this question is there for you. I'll go to the next question. Next question, regarding which of the following has ruled RBI won't be required to pay GST on fines or penalties collected from its regulated institutions. So which of the following has ruled that RBI won't be required to pay GST on fines or penalties collected from its regulated institution? So what are the regulated institutions are there under RBI? From them there is no need to collect the GST on the fines, because there was a discussion, there was a confusion. What are the fines banks are paying to the RBI? On those fines they need to pay the GST. But there was a case, and under that case recently it was decided that there is no requirement to pay GST, something like that. So Maharashtra Authority of Advance Ruling, basically RBI is working from Mumbai only. So there was a case filed by one of the institution that what are the fine RBI is imposing on regulated entities, imposing on banks or the NBFCs. They are trying to charge GST on that, or government is trying to collect GST on that. So for that reason, it was clearly mentioned that there is no need to pay GST on any kind of fine which is imposed by the Reserve Bank of India. So that is a very very important factor. So again question can be asked. Otherwise GST Council was thinking to collect the GST, or the government was thinking to collect the GST on such kind of fines, but it was now settled. We'll go to the next question. Next question is little bit a bigger question. RBI has extended the e-mandate framework to incorporate which of the following? So e-mandate framework is there to incorporate which of the following? FASTag auto replenishment, NCMC auto replenishment, RTGS auto replenishment. So which select the correct codes? That is the question. So RBI has extended the e-mandate framework to incorporate which of the following? E-mandate is the concept over here. So this framework is actually automatically the things will be in process. So there is no need to put extra efforts. For example, FASTags, NCMCs are the RTGS. So you can connect directly with your account. You can connect directly with your account. So whenever there is a lack of amount in such accounts, so the auto update will be there. The amount will be automatically put into that particular system. So it was recently announced for the FASTags. Okay, so FASTags and the NCMCs basically. So for these two things, FASTags and NCMCs, the auto replenishment was recently announced by the Reserve Bank of India. In the month of August, actually, this announcement was done by the Reserve Bank of India, and that's the case here. Now, liquefied natural gas import into India reached at how much year high level in May, July 2024? Liquefied natural gas import. In the last few months, import and export numbers were not that favorable in India's point of view. Yes, we are increasing our export day by day, month on month, but at the same time, import is also going up these days. So the question is regarding LNG import into India's reach at how many years high, and the 4-year high. Basically, the answer is 4-year high. As per the energy analytics firm, Vortex is the name of the company. They gave this data, and yes, right now crude oil import or the other imports are actually a bit increasing for the country, which is a problematic scenario. We are actually only talking about export these days. We are not talking that much about the import, but the reality is little bit different, because yes, import is also increasing. So CAD will be there. CAD का difference थोड़ा कम हो रहा है, but yes, CAD is still there. That is current account deficit. Next question. New polymer plastic currency bill will be tested later this year by the central bank of which of the following country? So recently, which country's central bank announced that they are going to test it first, and then they are going to introduce a polymer plastic currency, a different type of currency. So plastic currency will be there, so that currency फटे ना, currency खराब ना हो, longer term के लिए currency चले. So new currency means new type of or new material of currency will be introduced by which country? And this announcement is recently done by the Pakistan. So State Bank of Pakistan is the central bank. It's just like RBI is the central bank of India, like State Bank of Pakistan is the central bank of Pakistan. So Jamil Ahmad, he's the governor of that bank, and he announced that they are going to introduce a new material for the currency recently. Who has been appointed as the next chairperson of the NASSCOM with the immediate effect? NASSCOM's new chairperson. In NASSCOM, there is actually a change in the leadership of their chairperson as well as their director general, their president. So every post is being changed right now in NASSCOM. NASSCOM was created in 1988. NASSCOM is the National Association of Software and Service Sector Based Companies, a very famous authority. So the new chairperson, look, the chairperson will be Sindhu Gangadharan. She will be the chairperson, and Rajesh Nambiar will be the president. Okay. Rajesh Nambiar is going to hand over the position of National Association of chairperson to Gangadharan. So Sindhu Gangadharan will be the new head. Nambiar is going to handle the post of यहाँ पे वो मैनेजिंग प्रेसिडेंट की पोस्ट यहाँ पे हैंडल करने वाले. सो राजेश नाम्बियार विल बी द प्रेसिडेंट. Okay, first thing. Second, Sindhu Gangadharan will be the chairperson. So these two things यहाँ पे थोड़ा ध्यान रखेगा. देवजानी घोष, now her term is being over, तो उनके जगह पे अभी राजेश नाम्बियार जाएंगे. Rajesh Nambiar is basically, he was chairman and managing director of the Cognizant India. Now he resigned from this post because he is going to be a full-time president of NASSCOM. So that's why there are some leadership changes. This NASSCOM is a very important group because this NASSCOM is representing all the service sector and the software-based companies working in India. And yes, 1988 में इस ग्रुप को क्रिएट किया गया था, तो ये भी एक फैक्टर यहाँ पे ध्यान रखिएगा. Now next. Which country emerged as India's top trading partner during the year January to June? So if we'll talk about the few months, so which country which is a topmost trading partner of India? That is a question for you. So answer is very easy, because if we'll talk about the only from Jan to June, so US is doing a very good business, but we'll talk about the last year's overall data, last financial year's overall data, then China is India's biggest trading partner. But right now, from the Jan to June, yes, US emerged as the biggest trading partner due to export. What are the export we are doing with the USA? But if we'll talk about yearly angle, if we'll talk about the last financial year, yes, China is the biggest trading partner. But this is only about the month on data which we have. Again, India's exports to Italy, Belgium, Nepal, and Hong Kong have declined. import from Russia is increased for India. That is another factor which is mentioned here. Union Cabinet approved the Unified Pension Scheme for government employees. This scheme ensures that in the case of the employee's death, their family will get how much percent of the pension. So in the month of August, Unified Pension Scheme was announced by Government of India for the central government employees. So what is the assured amount will be given? So after the death, okay, so after the employee's death, the family will get how much amount of pension? The family is going to get is just one sec. Yes, the family is going to get the like initially, if the employee is minimum service is 25 years, then that time the employee is going to get 50% of the basic pay for the last 12 months they are going to get. If that pensioner is, if that pension drawing employee उनकी अगर डेथ हो जाती है तो फैमिली को जो है वो जो भी लास्ट ड्रॉन पेंशन था उसका 60% पैसा मिलते रहेगा. So whatever the pension amount was there to that employee, that retired employee, उसका 60% पैसा ये फैमिली को मिलेगा आफ्टर द डेथ. ये भी एक इंपॉर्टेंट फैक्टर यहाँ पे रहेगा. अगेन आई एम रिपीटिंग द वन थिंग, रिटायरमेंट होने के बाद के अगर 25 इयर्स का आपका जॉब होता है, उसके बाद अगर आप रिटायर हो जाते हो तो उसके बाद आपको मिनिमम 50% का एश्योर्ड पेंशन दिया जाएगा आपके लास्ट ड्रॉन बेसिक पे के हिसाब से. दैट इज अ पॉइंट मेंशन बाय द गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया. The minimum public float requirement has been lowered from 25% to how much percent by the finance ministry. Public float means companies के लिए, this is for the company, this is for the corporate sector. So how much is the minimum requirement now? So earlier it was 25%, now it being reduced to 10% by the finance ministry. So attempt to domestic and the international business to list on the international stock exchange located at the gift city. So to attract more and more companies in the gift city, to attract more and more companies into the international stock exchange which we created in the gift city. So that's why 25% मिनिमम का कम करके 10% कम कर दिया है, एंड दैट इज द पॉइंट ओवर हियर. तो ये भी एक फैक्टर एग्जाम के लिए जरूरी रहेगा. Fitch rating continues to keep India's sovereign rating at which percent with the stable outlook? Sovereign rating basically shows this country is like investment wise, ये country कैसे work कर रही है, investment के लिए ये country कितनी beneficial है, इस angle में ये survey आता है. So Fitch rating continues to keep India's sovereign rating at which level with the stable outlook? BB minus, BB plus, triple B minus, triple B plus. So according to the Fitch, which is an international organization, India's sovereign rating is triple B minus with the stable outlook. अभी भी हम ट्रिपल बी माइनस में, बट विद स्टेबल आउटलुक की ओके, यहाँ की इकोनॉमी थोड़ी स्टेबल रहेगी, वी कैन इन्वेस्ट दैट. अगर प्लस में आते हैं, ए कैटेगरी में आते हैं, सो ऑब्वियसली दिस विल बी मोर अट्रैक्टिव इकोनॉमी. सच काइंड ऑफ I will say such kind of जो rankings होती है, it will help to attract more and more foreign investments. So if we get better in these rankings, more foreign investment can come to our country and will definitely come to our country. That's the benefit of such kind of rankings. We'll go to the next question. According to a report, how many percent of women micro business owners had no idea that UPI based solutions existed? So recently, माइक्रो बिजनेस ओनर्स मींस छोटे छोटे बिजनेस चलाने वाली जो महिलाएं है, हाउ मेनी परसेंट ऑफ देम दे डोंट हैव any idea about the UPI and how UPI can help them. So they are not using the UPI that much. So this is a recent survey, and according to this survey, still 57% women micro business owners had no idea about the UPI solution existence. So recently reported by the Women's World Banking and National Payment Corporation of India. So this data is officially given by this institution, that is NPCI. So Global FinTech Fest, okay, they talk, in that particular fest they talked about this, which is a very important thing, because the official data है, ये प्रॉपर तरीके से गवर्नमेंट अथॉरिटीज के द्वारा आया हुआ है. सो डेफिनेटली इसके ऊपर सवाल बन सकता है, तो एक ध्यान रखिएगा. नेक्स्ट. Now, sovereign green bond. The question is regarding sovereign green bond. The multi-statement question is there. You need to answer which is correct. 3 statements are there. Scheme for trading and settlement of sovereign green bonds in IFSC has been introduced by the IFSC authority. The scheme covers investments in sovereign green bonds issued by the government of India to eligible investors in the IFSC. The investors can take part the primary auctions of the securities carried out by the Reserve Bank. So which of the above statements are correct? Sovereign green bond is the most important criteria here. One only, 1 and 2, 2 and 3, 1 and 3, 1, 2 and 3. Now, according to the Government of India sovereign green bond, which is not that attractive for the other investors, so we'll talk about here. Now, scheme as trading and settlement of sovereign green bonds in the IFSC has been introduced by RBI. Scheme covers investment in sovereign green bond issued by the Government of India to the eligible investors in the IFSC. Investor can take part in the primary auctions of the securities carried out by the RBI, but obvious, investor can transact the secondary market for the securities in the IFSC, and as a part of scheme, investors are not allowed to repackage or write any derivative instrument or underlying securities that they hold, and as well as they also not allowed to undertake repo transactions in such securities. So you cannot use this for the repo. Okay, under IFSC and in a normal scenario, sovereign green bonds are allowed for the repo as well as for the SLR. But under the IFSC, not allowed for the repo, not allowed for the derivatives, but it can be used in the secondary market, can be participate in the primary market. So all other things are allowed, but the things regarding derivatives and the regarding the repo for under IFSC is not allowed, and that is the part here, which is very important. Remember one thing: if we are going to purchase the sovereign green bond other than the IFSC, then the banks can use them for the repo purposes, banks can use them for the SLR purposes. But if some bank, some financial institution purchasing sovereign green bond through IFSC channel, they're not allowed to use for such kind of things. So ये भी एक part आपके लिए जरूरी बन जाएगा. Pradhan Jan Dhan Yojana launch in which year? A very simple, very straightforward question. So when we launch Pradhan Jan Dhan Yojana? So just tell me the answer of this. A straightforward question for you, because many schemes are in news these days, like Make in India completed 10 years. So there was a celebration. So in that way, the questions can be asked. PM Vishwakarma completed 1 year, like few days back, there was a celebration, and same with the Jan Dhan Yojana. So Jan Dhan Yojana was introduced, it also completed 10 years, was introduced on 28th of August 2014, and that's why it was in news. Right now, the Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana reached 53.13 crore accounts as of 14th of August, and 55.6% of Jan Dhan accounts holders are women. So these two numbers are really, really very important. Other than that, 66.6% Jan Dhan accounts have been opened in rural and the semi-urban area. But majorly, the questions can be asked on these 2 pointers. Remember that, again, 10 years completed for the Jan Dhan Yojana, just like I mentioned about the Make in India. So these were few questions for you. Now we'll start with the session. Now we'll discuss few news from the today's newspaper, which are really very important for our exam point of view. I will start with very, very basic and very simple news. The first news is this: banks must set up lending to women-led companies in RBI Deputy Governor. So basically, women-led entrepreneurs, COS obviously companies. So women-led entrepreneurs should be the first priority of banks while lending the money. There are chances, because the same statement was given by RBI Governor a few days back. The same statement was also used by the Prime Minister as well as the Finance Minister in some speeches. So there are chances, there are probability, because World Bank gave the suggestion to RBI as well as Government of India that women-led entrepreneurs should be the part of priority sector lending in India. So we have PSL, priority sector lending. We have 8 sectors in priority sector lending, in which the farmers are there, MSMEs are there, agriculture, MSMEs, education, housing, renewable energy, social infrastructure, export credit, and other. Now, World Bank suggested the women-led entrepreneurs should be the part of PSL. Means there can be a subcategory. There can be a subcategory under MSME. There can be a subcategory. There can be a separate category. We never know. So that's why this statement is very important, because the same statement was given by Governor few days back, as well as the ministers, Prime Minister as well as Finance Minister. Means in coming days we can experience or we can see some changes in the PSL. Again we can see, but अगर changes आते भी नहीं है तो भी answer writing में we can put this point because World Bank suggested that and now governor and deputy governor talked about it. Now under PSL right now we'll talk about the PSL, priority sector lending. Under weaker section or under others, that is 8 category, we have something for the women. So individual women beneficiaries up to rupees 1 lakh per borrower. That criteria is there under PSL for women. Rest of the criteria, obviously we are giving preferences to women, but it is not mentioned precisely, but this statement is precisely mentioned under PSL, priority sector lending. We have some schemes in India where we are giving preferences to women for taking loan. For example, we have Mudra Yojana, in which women entrepreneurs are actually will be promoted or is promoted. Second is Stand Up India scheme. यहाँ पे भी women entrepreneurs को हम ज़्यादा promote करते हैं. So these schemes are already there जहाँ पे women entrepreneurs को promote किया जाता है या उनको पहला preference दिया जाता है और PSL में ये criteria है. So आने वाले समय में शायद PSL में हमें ये एक point देखने को मिल सकता है. So it was just a discussion based news, but उसका reference point पता होना जरूरी है. The next is AIIB should help nation with low income AVEL funds. AIIB, that is the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank. It was created in 2016 and Beijing, China में इसका headquarter है. Now Nirmala ji asked AIIB, Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank. India is one of the prime member. India is one of the founder member of this institution. Now the thing is that there is a ADB, Asian Development Bank, right? There is a new development bank. There is something called as a World Bank. Everyone knows about that. These institutions providing loans for the development purposes. So Nirmala ji suggested that AIIB should help nations with low income avail the funds. So low income countries should be the priority of AIIB. Again, the question will not come directly from this news. The question can be a static angle question. What is exactly AIIB? That factor we should know for the exam point of view. That will be enough. Now, government eyes 100 billion FDI inflows annually. So Prime Minister of India in his speech mentioned that government of India is focusing on 100 billion FDI inflow. The statement is also mentioned by the DPIIT secretary right now. DPIIT secretary is Amardeep Singh Bhatia. So he mentioned about that. But why this statement is there and why so much buzz about the FDI? Because we completed 10 years of Make in India. So under that discussion, under that press conference, so Secretary of DPIIT, that is DPIIT is Department for Promotion of Industries and Internal Trade, comes under Commerce Ministry, जिनके अंदर Make in India आता है. So Government of India is planning 100 billion FDI annually per year. So right now, what is the FDI of India? फिलहाल हमारे देश में FDI कितना आता है per year के हिसाब से? So in 23-24, FDI $70.95 billion. The highest which we achieved in the recent past was $84.83 billion, which we have achieved in year 21-22. So that was the highest achievement we reach up to. So our plan is that $100 billion per year, that should be the focus. Now, Make in India. First, we'll talk about the Make in India. By the way, these numbers were also from the Make in India announcement only. So we completed 10 years for Make in India. It was launched on September 2014. So the 10 years being successfully completed. This is very, very important news. I have covered this news in detail when it comes to our PIB discussions. So you can go through that video, which will be uploaded within few minutes or few hours में वो video हमारा upload हो जाएगा. Now under Make in India, we have 4 pillars. Under Make in India, we have 4 main priority areas. First is new process, is one of the pillar. The new infrastructure, new sectors, and the new mindset. Under those pillars, we launched Make in India in 2014. Under Make in India, we are focusing on 27 sectors. Some of them are under manufacturing, some of them are under service sectors. So total 27 different kind of sectors, different kind of industries are in the mindset of Make in India policy. So 27 sectors, manufacturing as well as service. Make in India is the umbrella scheme. It consists of the schemes like Production Link Incentive Scheme, So there are some things which are under Make in India, or which are making Make in India more successful. The one of the thing is that production link incentive scheme, 14 sectors are there. Then semiconductor ecosystem development, then PM Gati Shakti, national logistic policy, national industrial corridor development program, startup India, tax reforms, and UPI. So these things are making our Make in India successful, and that's why the 10-year success was recently celebrated by the government of India. Now, India's growing semiconductor hub, we will talk about the PLI first. PLI scheme worth 76,000 crore approved. India-US team up for the semiconductor fab plant in Kolkata recently. 5 semiconductor plants are already approved, out of which 3 are in the Sanand, Gujarat, 1 is in Dholera, Gujarat, and 1 is in Assam. So 5 plants are already there and attracted investment worth 1.5 lakh crore under semiconductor. So under Make in India, we achieved some few things and few good numbers are also there. Now, under ease of doing business, India's rank was also very good when it was last given in 2019. So India's rank was 63, ease of doing business. The last report of World Bank was in 2019. After that, World Bank stopped giving this ease of doing report. Ease of doing shows कि इंडिया में बिजनेस करना कितना इजी है. So obviously foreign companies will come and they will start manufacturing in our country because it's easy to work in India. In 19, the rank was 63. So now again, if World Bank will start calculating the numbers again, so probability the rank will be under 50 because we made another few changes in the last few years. Now UPI, we will talk about the UPI. UPI surpassed the world's leading digital payment platform. वर्ल्ड का सबसे बड़ा डिजिटल प्लेटफॉर्म फिलहाल यूपीआई बन चुका है. 46% global real-time payment interaction happening in India and processed nearly 81 lakh crore transactions in just April-July 2024. 81 lakh crore transaction in only few months, April to July. So successful and obviously helpful for the businesses to grow, and that's the case. That's why Prime Minister of India, that's why Government of India, that's why Commerce Ministry or DPIIT is expecting $100 billion investment through FDI. Because if you are providing so much beautiful infrastructure to work in the country, more foreign companies will come, more foreign companies will set up their establishment in India for the manufacturing or for the service provisions. So it will attract more investment. So that is the case. So Make in India is to attract FDI. That is one of the major priority, and that's the point mentioned by the DPIIT secretary. Now, we'll go to the next news, which is helpful for the social issues. Now, recently there is a report given by our health ministry. The name of the report is basically National Health Account Estimate 21-22. So for year 2021 to year 21-22, the report is being given called as a National Health Account Estimate by the Health Ministry. Now, this report is talking about 2-3 things which are very important. The one of the most important thing is that out-of-pocket expenditure. Out-of-pocket expenditure means if you are having health insurance facilities in the country, लोगों को अपने जेब से पैसा निकालने की जरूरत नहीं पड़ेगी. It's called out of pocket expenditure. So if health insurance is there, my health insurance will pay my bills, will pay my health expenditures. So I need not to give anything from my pocket, called as out of pocket expenditure. It's being reduced to 39%. It was more than 64%. Now it is only 39%, which is a very positive sign. So that's why the first question can be asked over here. So that is the case. The next thing is about the GDP expenditure when it comes to the with respect to our country. So now earlier the GDP data was only 1.35% for the health with respect to our GDP. So we were only spending 1.35% of the GDP on the health sector. Now we have started spending 1.84% for the health sector. So that is another positive point. So these points were given by the health ministry. JP Nadda Saab is the health minister. I'll show you the points actually. So you can see over here 39.4% is the out of pocket expenditure right now. So which is decline and a positive point. Second point is that we'll talk about the GDP. So 1.84% is the GDP right now. The part of GDP we are spending for the health. Then health expenditure overall, the share of government of the health expenditure is 48%, which is also increased. And per capita government spending on healthcare tripled in India. So these 1, 2, 3, 4, these 4 points are really very important. Niti Aayog is also involved for the making this report and publishing this report, but this report is wholly owned by Health and Family Welfare Ministry. Remember that. So again, out of pocket expenditure, अगर नंबर कम हो रहे तो इट्स अ पॉजिटिव साइन. जीडीपी का नंबर बढ़ रहा है, अगेन इट्स अ पॉजिटिव साइन. गवर्नमेंट स्पेंडिंग्स बढ़ रही है, अगेन इट्स अ पॉजिटिव साइन. एंड पर कैपिटा स्पेंडिंग बढ़ रही है, अगेन इट्स अ पॉजिटिव पॉइंट. सो एवरीवेयर वी आर डूइंग गुड एज पर दिस रिपोर्ट. द रिपोर्ट इज ऑफ 21-22. रिमेंबर दैट. Okay, the report is not from 23-24 or not from 22, it's from the 21-22, so that will be really very crucial. OECD ups India's financial 25 GDP forecast to 6.7%. So this is again the GDP forecast. Recently, Asian Development Bank talked about 7%, OECD 6.7%, S&P 6.8%, IMF 7%, World Bank 7%, and RBI 7.2%. So almost every institution, they actually try to up the India's GDP forecast. Every institution is saying India is going to grow nearby 7%. RBI is talking about 7.2%. IMF, World Bank talking about 7%. Even ADB is talking about 7%. So S&P and OECD, they are only having some lesser number than the 7%, that is 6.7% by the OECD. Actually, they also upgraded the number, and S&P kept as it is 6.8% like earlier. OECD is basically Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. 38 member countries are there. Headquarters is in Paris, and in 1961 we created this group properly. India is not the part of OECD. So basically, if you see the Asian countries, in Asia you will not find that much representation in the OECD. So mostly this group is depending on the European country and the American country, and you can see the Australia over here. These are the members over here. So 38 countries are the member. Of course, Japan and Korea. They are the members of this OECD. India is not the member of OECD, but OECD gives the numbers. Where will be India's GDP? Even these numbers will be more useful to attract the foreign direct investment. That is a static information regarding OECD. We'll go to the next news. Zoho joins ONDC with the Vikra app. Okay, Vikra is the app created by Zoho. Zoho is a very famous company जो basically websites create करने के लिए काफी helpful है. Indian origin company है, but headquarters in USA, but created by the Indians. So Zoho decided to be the part of ONDC. ONDC, Open Network Digital Commerce. It was created in 2021 by Commerce Ministry, and it is under Section 8 of Companies Act. ONDC is basically providing a common platform for all the e-commerce companies. So what are the e-commerce companies are working in India? A giant company or a small company or a individual based, a shopkeeper based platform, all can come on ONDC and they can sell their product. To centralize or to unify India's e-commerce, we created ONDC in 2021 by the Commerce Ministry. Again, ONDC is a non-profit making company platform owned by Government of India, and धीरे धीरे लगभग सब लोग इसके ऊपर रजिस्टर हो रहे हैं. Already Flipkart, Amazon, the Myntra like companies, they are registered. Then Delivery is the name of the company, they also registered. Vikra app is created by the Zoho. Zoho is owned by Sridhar Vembu, CEO. Sridhar Vembu is the CEO. He and his sister together created this company, one of the very famous company, and they are also now the part of ONDC. It's a big news. Now, first in India, Airtel's AI-powered spam detection goes live today. So, Airtel is one of the very famous telecom company of India. Gopal Vittal is the MD CEO of the Airtel India. Now, he announced that the first of its kind in our country, AI-based spam detector. So, Airtel users will now get the प्रोटेक्शन फ्रॉम द एआई सिस्टम जो ऑटोमेटिक स्पैम कॉल्स को रोक देगा, स्पैम कॉल्स को आने नहीं देगा. इंडिया में पहली बार इसे लाया गया है. दैट्स व्हाई क्वेश्चन विल बी आस्क्ड. एग्जाम में भी क्वेश्चन पूछ सकते हैं, व्हिच इंडियन कंपनी इंट्रोड्यूस एआई बेस्ड सिस्टम टू protect the customer from the spam calls or to detect the spam calls. तो suspected spam इस एंगल में ये वर्क करेगा. जैसे हमारा ट्रू कॉलर है, ट्रू कॉलर ट्रू कॉलर ऐप को हम लोग डालते हैं, उससे हमें पता चलता है कि भाई ये कॉल स्पैम वाला है कि नहीं है, वहां पे आता है. सो दिस एआई, आपको ट्रू कॉलर डालने की जरूरत नहीं पड़ेगी. इस एआई के थ्रू डायरेक्टली आपको समझ में आ जाएगा कि आने वाला जो कॉल है वो स्पैम कॉल है, जो आपको मैसेज आया वो स्पैम मैसेज है या नहीं है, तो आप उसे फाइंड आउट कर सकते हो. सो दे लॉन्च दिस न्यू कंसेप्ट फॉर देयर customers. Now, Cocorelli Simon QS ranking. Cocorelli Simon is one of the institution, a UK-based institution that gives ranking of education institutions all over the world. Now they gave the ranking regarding MBA. So MBA courses का ranking दिया, वर्ल्ड के टॉप MBA courses का. वर्ल्ड के टॉप MBA courses में 3 IIMs के नाम यहाँ पे आ रहे हैं. 3 IIMs are there. So IIM Bengaluru 53rd number, IIM Ahmedabad 60 number, and IIM Kolkata 65th number. So this is given by Cocorelli Simon. This is not the Indian ranking. This ranking is given by a foreign organization based in UK called as a QS or full formed as Cocorelli Simon. वर्ल्ड का सबसे बेस्ट अगर बिजनेस स्कूल की बात की जाए तो स्टैनफोर्ड इज एट द टॉप. स्टैनफोर्ड सबसे टॉप में आता है इस पूरे रैंकिंग में. एंड व्हेन इट कम्स टू इंडिया, द टॉप मोस्ट अकॉर्डिंग टू दिस रैंकिंग इज IIM Bengaluru, then IIM Ahmedabad, then IIM Kolkata. So that is mentioned by the Cocorelli Simon. That's it. That will be enough for the exam point of view. That's all guys from my side for the day. ये था हमारा आज के न्यूज का अपडेट. We discussed few MCQs at the beginning of this session, and then we discussed few news directly from the newspaper, which are important for the exam. That's all. We'll see you in the next session, and the recorded session of the PIB will be uploaded soon on our platform. Please go through that. Bye bye. Take care.